Access Gaming Podcast, and this is going to be a reply video to probably one of my favorite YouTube channels, Happy Console Gamer with Johnny Millennium. And he made a video called The Sega Genesis Rocks, where he talked about some of his fondest memories with our beloved 16-bit system put out by Sega. And it kind of sparked an interest for me to make my own reply video and talk about some of my earliest memories with the Sega Genesis. One of my earliest memories with the Sega Genesis was actually not having one. You know, during the 90s console wars, you had to choose a side because most kids weren't fortunate enough to have both systems. You either had a Super Nintendo or you had a Sega Genesis. Now I picked the Super Nintendo. But a buddy of mine, he chose the Sega Genesis, and what we would do is we would trade stories of games exclusively to that console. Like I would tell him about Super Mario World, and he would tell me about, Sonic the Hedgehog, or, something like that. And we were always kind of jealous of each other because we felt like we were missing out of something in the gaming world. Well, needless to say, I finally got a Sega Genesis one Christmas, and the game that came with my Sega Genesis was by far one of the best introductions to the system, and that was the Sega 6-pack. Now, it almost felt like it was too good to be true that you had 6 prestige titles on one cartridge. Like I'm talking about Sonic the Hedgehog, Golden Axe, Streets of Rage, Columns, Revenge of Shinobi, and Super Hang-On. It was almost too good to be true. I actually thought when I first opened up the box I was going to find just one of these titles. And I was hoping it wasn't Columns, because I love Columns, but that's not a way to spend Christmas morning. You want to do something like Golden Axe or Streets of Rage, something action-packed. But no, it was all 6 games, and I thought it was an awesome idea that Sega did. Some more games that I wanted to talk about that I absolutely loved on this system. One of them going to be El Viento. What an awesome action game this was. If you're a huge fan of Shinobi 3 or any sort of like side-scrolling action game, this is definitely worth checking out. It had awesome anime cutscenes, had a really fun soundtrack, and it was overall a very solid game. I don't hear people talk about it too much, but it's definitely worth checking out. And another one I want to talk about was Atomic Robo Kid. And I have to say, when I was watching the Happy Console Gamer movie, he made a reference to this, and it completely, made me light up because I don't hear a whole lot of people talk about this. So I don't want to go off the record and say that it's an obscure shooter, but it's definitely underrated, and it's a lot of fun. And if you guys look real closely, he looks kind of like Prometheus a little bit, doesn't he? I mean, with that, I don't know if it's the trunk or what, but, it's kind of weird. But yeah, Atomic Robo Kid, freaking awesome. Now this is like going down nostalgia lane right here, and that is Toki going ape spit. Now, if you guys remember a little show on Nickelodeon called Nick Arcade, this was a game that the kids always seemed to play in every episode, was Toki. And it's not a solid platformer by all means, but it's still a lot of fun. And I remember one summer when I went to the Boys and Girls Club for like summer camp, that they actually had, in their auditorium, they installed 3 arcade cabinets, one being Toki, Mortal Kombat 2, and Super Hang-On. And I remember this game was so fun, and we always had a blast, wasting quarters on this thing. And those 3 arcade cabinets only lasted 3 weeks of that summer because the staff realized that kids would rather play arcade games than go outside and play basketball. So it was bittersweet and a lot of fun. And the next game I want to talk about, guys, I absolutely love Castlevania, so needless to say, I have to mention Castlevania Bloodlines. Now, Super Castlevania 4 is a better game on the Super Nintendo by all means, but something was very special about this game. I don't know if it was the soundtrack, because Sega Genesis had a very unique sound chip, or if it was the blood, so it felt more mature, but I don't know, it just had a little bit of a spice to it. So Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite Castlevanias of all time is Bloodlines. But yeah, guys, this is my reply video to Happy Console Gamer. I want to say I absolutely love your channel, and keep pumping out those videos, man, because they're a lot of fun to watch. And as always, guys, happy gaming.